G'day guys, it's your old pal Nick here from the Bulldog Fanatic YouTube channel, and in today's video we are previewing the game between the Western Bulldogs and the Melbourne Demons, also known as NAM, in this Sir Doug Nicholls Indigenous round. This game is round 11 of the 2026 AFL season, and it's at Marvel Stadium on a Sunday at 3:15 PM. Let's get into it. So, both teams form-wise coming off very different form lines last week. Melbourne came off a very terrific and dominant victory over Hawthorn, and the Dees are now sitting comfortably in the top 6 with a record of 7-3 at their fortress by beating Hawthorn at the MCG, while the Dogs are coming off a very disappointing loss to Josh Fraser's first game as caretaker coach for Carlton. We lost by 2 goals in a very ugly game of footy, and where the flaws of the Bulldogs were really exposed once again. And so yeah, both teams coming in with very different form lines, and the D's being the favourites, and deservedly so. Both teams have made changes. Melbourne just making the one change, with live wire midfielder Caleb Windsor coming in and Latrell Pickett, the cousin of Kazai Pickett, being managed. So in terms of the Bulldogs, it's a lot more interesting, and there are a lot more changes. Ins are Luke Cleary, James O'Donnell, Lockie Jakes, Jordan Croft, and veteran midfielder Adam Shalor. The outs are Jed Bussinger, Bailey Williams due to injury. The outs are Sam Davis, and the other outs are Sam Davidson, Oscar Baker, and Lewis Emmett omitted. So, Jed Bussinger, I can kind of know why he was injured. He did hurt his shoulder last week, and he was in the rooms for quite a bit, getting that shoulder patched up. He must have not got up this week, or that shoulder must be feeling really sore. So, yeah, that's not ideal, because he was actually playing okay. But oh well. And Bailey Williams, he did a pretty bad hammy. He's avoided surgery, thankfully, but he will be out until the round 16 bye at least. That's unfortunate. And Davidson Baker, 2 wingers omitted, and Lewis Emmett omitted. I mean, it had to be done. Again, he's still very raw, and I feel like he's just not ready to play AFL yet. So probably going back to Footscray is a really good choice, in my opinion. But we haven't brought in Lockie Smith, so Rory Lobb is pretty much our only proper ruck, I would say, for this game, with maybe Jordan Croft doing the secondary work when Lobby's on the bench. So that's going to be interesting. Rory Lobb up against the 2 Maxes, Gawn and Heath. Max Gawn and Max Heath, that's going to be a challenge, to say the least. And it'll be interesting to see how we overcome that and somehow match the D's in the ruck. So the Dees' 2026 season is nothing short of magical and fun for them. They're 7-3, and they're playing with this freedom under new coach Stephen King, and it reminds me a lot of Luke Berridge's first year as coach in 2015, where the list actively got worse. Not as much talent compared to the previous year, but it was just a new coach with new game plan, and just a new voice and fresh energy into the club, and vibrance and exuberance. That's what's going on with Melbourne right now, and it's really good to see. They are so fun to watch, just the way they play and how attacking they are, and just making the MCG a fortress. So yeah, this game is not the MCG, thankfully. So that's one advantage the Dogs have this week. It's at Marvel, so that will help, I think. But yeah, back to the D's. It's just, yeah, they look on fire. They have so many good young players, a lot of veteran players playing really well as well. So yeah, Stephen King is the coach of the year by a country mile. So yeah, it's pretty fun to watch, and it makes me a little jealous that the D's have kind of already gone past us so far. Well, we're very stale and stuck in a mud at the moment, in a rot, you may say. So yeah, the D's attacking style play, I think, will cause some headaches, but let's see if we can pull through and stop the scoring attack of the D's, and let's try and win it at the source, which we didn't do last week. The midfield has to stand up. So Adam Shalor coming back is nice to see. He played in the VFL last week, and he was pretty decent. So it's nice to see him come back for his second AFL game of the year, and hopefully he plays pretty well, and maybe takes some midfield minutes of Ed Richards and Matt Kennedy, who have not been playing well recently, especially Matt Kennedy. His time on ground and centre bounces were very low again last week, so I'm interested to see if he plays a more forward role this week, Matt Kennedy, which I wouldn't mind, because he kicked over 20 goals last year, and he was in the top half of the league for goal assists, so he hasn't done a whole lot of that this year, Matt Kennedy, so I wouldn't mind him playing a little more forward, playing half forward, maybe providing an option as a marking forward, because we are really lacking those at the moment. But yeah, interested to see with Adam Treloar coming back, how the domino effect goes for the rest of the midfield, and it also probably takes the load off Bont, because Bont, once again, especially in the second half last week, was playing very, very sore. So we'll see what happens there with the midfield, but the midfield has to be better, because the midfield was absolutely pants by Carlton last week, and we cannot have that again if we want to win this game against the Dees. I'm going to read out quite a few stats from the last 5 weeks in regards to the Bulldogs and how poor we're doing in the competition in stats that we were really good at last year, and how far we've fallen the last 5 weeks in key areas of the ground. So as in like what we're doing, we are 16th for inside 50s out of 18th. We are dead last in contested possession, so our midfielders cannot get our hands on the ball. That's probably due to having no team English for the last majority of the last month, and having no liver as well, our best contested possession mid. We are 15th for our contested possession, so we are struggling to get it on the outside. We are 18th for shots, so we are literally dead last in terms of having shots at goal. We are 17th for shots per inside 50. We are 17th for points for. That is the damning one, because that was our 1 wood last year. We were the highest scoring team last year, and we are now like one of the worst. It's in the last 5 weeks. We just cannot score to save our lives. Obviously, a big part of that is having no Sam Darcy, but still, it's just falling off a cliff in terms of our scoring. We just can't get it in there, and our way going inside 50 is atrocious at the moment, so it's not a surprise, unfortunately. We are 15th for scores from stoppages, which is how we get a lot of our scores, but we have fallen a lot in that category, no surprise. We are 16th for scores of turnover, so we're not punishing the opposition that well. When the opposition does turn it over, we are not punishing them with scores. We are 17th for time possession, so we don't hold our retention rate with the ball in hand is not high at all, and 16th for time in forward half. So yeah, the ball is in our back half a lot, which is not a surprise. I feel sorry for the defense. It's been undermanned and undersized, and it's had a lot more to do than they should have the last 5 weeks. So they have some damning stats, damning stats, and let's hope we can repair some of those on the weekend. I am terrified of this man, Kazai Pickett. He's been down a few weeks, actually getting some attention from the opposition. I don't know if we put any attention into him. Probably not, but I am terrified of him. And if it's a close game, I feel like he's going to break our hearts. And one thing about, speaking of close games and last quarters, the Bulldogs have lost their 8. The last time they won a last quarter was round 1 against the Giants. I'm not even kidding. That was the last time the Bulldogs won a 4th quarter in round 1. So we are not a good last quarter team. We fade out of games, probably due to a lot of the time having an injury, picking up an injury every game, like bloody hell, and due to fatigue, and just not due to probably fitness levels not being at best. It's just we struggled to run out games this year, and if it's a close game heading into the last quarter, I'm going to be nervous as hell, because I have no idea if we'll be able to clutch up when the whips are cracking in the last quarter. We'll see what happens. I think it will be close though throughout the entire game. Final thoughts on this game. Well, I don't have any confidence we can win this, which is a shame, because I would have penciled this as a win at the start of the year, or even like 5-6 weeks ago. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen on Sunday. I just hope we get through the game without any injuries. That would be a start. If we lose, it'll suck. But if we can get through the game without any injuries, that's a W at least. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I just want to have fun again. And supporting this club has not been fun the last 6 weeks. I just want to have fun, score a ton. Yeah, I don't know if our defense will hold up, but I want to see if we can score. Put a decent score on the board, just to have excitement, have fun watching the footy. Can our midfield go back to that competitive tooth and nail best? I'm not sure, man. But anyway, guys, I will be going to the game on Sunday. Hope we win. It should be an interesting game nonetheless. But hopefully you guys enjoy the video. And as always, go you mighty Bulldogs. See you next time.